Now I'm going to hit you a couple times. What I want you to do is blow your air out. 1, 2, 3. Blow it out on 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Blow it out hard because that'll keep you from getting the wind knocked out of you. Right? And then I'm going to do it with drawing back. So it's 1, 2, 3. Right? That's it. Instead of flimsy, hold it firm so it doesn't wobble. There you go, like that. 1, 2, 3. Right? So you don't have to get power, get a big windup. What you have to do is learn how to transmit power from a short distance. And so in Wing Chun, what we do, or at least the way I do it, maybe I shouldn't include everybody who does it my way, but when he throws a punch, I don't try and block his punch and then try and punch him while he's in control of his balance and he can do whatever. Instead, what I do is I position him so he can't stop me from hitting him. And then when I hit him with a great deal of power from short distance until he's really tired of me hitting him. And I'm tired of it too. Then he can't fight back. But he doesn't see it coming. Right? Good hitting is invisible. Your opponent feels it, they don't see it. Right? That's kind of what Wing Chun does. We move to a position of advantage where you can do whatever you want to your opponent without having to fight their strength. Because strength against strength, the bigger, stronger person wins. You know? So it's not dependent upon being bigger or stronger. It's about utilizing your natural abilities, moving to a position of advantage, which we call the blind side. Right in the middle of all of his tools. He can kick me, he can punch me, right? So instead, when he throws his punch, I'm outside, on the blind side. I can knee him, elbow him. He can't hit me with that one, it's way over there. If he wants to kick me, I'm controlling his balance. So we have a strategy we call BOEC. Balance, opening, elbow, crossed arm. So when he throws his punch, I take control of his balance by controlling his elbow, which creates an opening and keeps his arms crossed. So if he wants to hit me, he's got to spin or step way around. Try and kick me. Go ahead, try. See? He can't because I'm keeping his foot pinned on the ground. Thank you. We're going to start with our feet together, heels together, toes apart, basically approximately 45, just like that, and stretch. So imagine there's a string lifting your head straight up, your hands are hanging down, and just in line with gravity. Right? From here, you just bring your hands up to shoulder level and stretch. Now I've had some damage to my hands, so my fingers don't go straight. But straighten your fingers and think out to your fingers and imagine everything stretching. Right? You can only reach so far, but imagine everything, you're like a plastic man and you're elongating. Right? Then close your fists, turn them over, and draw them back, high back and uncomfortable, not touching, not resting on the sides. Right? This is called Hasik. And then you're going to lower your center of gravity. Transfer your weight to your right foot and circle until you're approximately slightly wider than your shoulders. But keeping your balance. See how I did that? Toe, transfer your weight, continue to transfer your weight, keeping your head level, circle this foot, and come in with your feet just slightly wider from the insides. They're parallel, slightly wider than your shoulders. Your knees are bent. And you imagine that you have a ball right here, you're squeezing, right? But keep your hips forward, just a little bit. So what that'll do is straighten out your back. You need to be lined up, straight up and down with gravity. Feel that? So, and the hips are pressed forward just slightly. So this makes your lower back straight, right? So this stance is called Yi Ji Kim Yong Ma. Yi is the number 2. So it's the character, Chinese 2 is 2 parallel lines. The character 2, pinching a goat. It's a little goat here, right? So it's similar to jockey on a horseback, right? They ride with their knees on the back of the horse, right? So this is the character too, not the feet. This is parallel. Your back is straight, your hips are forward, right? That's our stance. Everything that we do footwork-wise is a derivative of this, or a variation of this, probably better. This is a neutral side stance. This is neutral. You don't fight anybody like this. This is somebody's off there in infinity. Neutral side, this is a pre-contact fighting stance, right? We have 5 stages of combat. Pre-contact, contact, exchange, pursuit, and retreat. Right? Everything you can do from grappling to whatever is included in that, right? So from pre-contact, we have a neutral stance, which means our weight is equally distributed. We can go just as easily to the left as we can go to the right, backwards just as easily as forward just as easily from a fighting position. So you're prepared to move. That's what this stance gives you, right? Now, what I want you to do is just practice the hasik and the stance with them about 5 times through. You guys can face the mirrors, use each other, and then I'm going to show you more. And we're going to do some drills. You guys can come on. You're going to lower your center of gravity. Transfer your weight to your right foot. And circle until you're approximately slightly wider than your shoulders. But keeping your balance. See how I did that? Toe, transfer your weight. Continue to transfer your weight, keeping your head level. Circle this foot. And come in with your feet just slightly wider from the inside. This stance is called Yiji Kimyong Ma. Yi is the number 2. So it's the character, Chinese 2 is 2 parallel lines. The character Chu, pinching a goat. There's a little goat here, right? So it's similar to jockey on a horseback, right? They ride with their knees on the back of the horse, right? So this is the character Chu, not the feet. Most people talk about the center line. This movement, this is Daigan, Sungan, right, and then Zhong. This is not a fighting technique. This could be used as a fighting technique, that, or this, right? But we don't cross our hands like that, right? It's defining an area, and the idea is anywhere you can use 2 hands simultaneously for attack or defense, right? So in boxing, you jab, you move, and you stick and move, right? Basically, stick and move, that's the, you don't rarely block and punch simultaneously. You might, if you have a good teacher, tell you some cool tricks. I'm going to show, like, I'm going to teach you how to do it. Well, like this, right? Right? So you can block and punch with the same move simultaneously, right? So that's called the defense against a straight punch, with the overarm punch. I just deflect his movement with my strike, and then from there I can follow over whatever. Right? So, but the concept is anywhere that you can use 2 hands simultaneously for attack and defense is the central line. So it's defined by where you can cross your hands without turning your waist. If you get outside that ability to cross your arms at the wrist, that's outside the system. If it's outside the system, you're not using Wing Chun. It's not that you can't do anything, it's that you need to get back into using the system because we have a specific, that's the whole point. It's very specific from start to finish about how to go in and control, and so it's not too random for you. Because when both guys are just winging, then you're taking punishment, and hopefully you can take more than him and dish out more than him, and then you win. But the concept is to try and not get hit and position yourself where you can hit, and use both hands at the same time. So when you block and you deliver your counter punch simultaneously, you're structurally ahead, of a guy who does 1, 2, or 1, 2, or whatever, right? Or 1, 2, however you do it. So, well, I'll just show you. The left hand is over the right when you do this, and it's out at an angle, right? And this is in your center, and then it comes up in your center, you close your fist, and then come back to that position, Chun. Chun is elbow, right? You just elbowing back. And so the hands being off the sides is important because you're learning to think about more than one thing at a time, which is hard for guys, easy for women, because they're made that way and we're not. But the concept is you have to multitask when you're fighting. You have to be interpreting, you have to be moving, you have to be punching, you have to be blocking, you have to be doing everything. Right? So you have to be able to divide up your mind, think about a lot of stuff at once, clearly, without getting, confused. So this is teaching you to keep your focus in your stance, in your arms, everything, all at the same time. And when you do this, you keep this off your body so the elbows are striking backward. If somebody's behind me, they're not getting hit. It should be like that. And then it's actually like an isometric exercise as well for your chest. So it's working the chest muscles, it's working your shoulders. Okay. This much is called the commencement. And then we're going to go right into the punch and how we punch comparatively. I'll show you what you saw a little bit about how much power can be delivered from a short. But I'll show you how we actually punch. Okay? So we prefer to position the person off balance and use the elbow as a guide to contacting them for the strike. Right? So like when you see the wooden dummy, the people work on wooden dummies. The ends of the wooden dummies are either the wrist or the elbow. And it depends on the technique you're doing, so you have to understand what it is you're doing on a wooden dummy. A lot of people just bang their arms. Well, that's nothing. And, like bruising yourself, I guess is okay, but every nuance of what we do has purpose. So they're not just movements for movement's sake, or So our punch, when it crosses the center, that's essential, because if he's throwing a punch straight out, right? If I try here, I'm outside, I'm gonna, right? But if I come across the center, as his punch is coming in, I can actually, even with my punch, control that line, right? I'm not recommending that you ever do this, but as his punch is thrown, I'm learning how to cross it and get to a position of advantage. Now, with one arm, I can control the position of keeping my still at home free. All right? So this is good for me. And I realize you can't hold in boxing, but you can push with your elbow, right? And set a guy up, right? So it's the same kind of thing. As this punch comes in, I just boom, right? See, you couldn't be sleeping, right? Because you just move in. In an uppercut, you just push off your feet. Right? You don't need to do this to get the power. It's that pushing off your feet from underneath, like in a shovel boat. Right? But it's from here. It's still, guy's head pops back every time. And you understand the principle of the knockout on the point of the chin in the box. Right? It snaps everything in the spine, that fluid. People go to sleep. So, our punch crosses the center, it positions, and it drives out. And we aim with these three knuckles, not these two. That's why you take your hands on you, because the wrist floats, right? So boxers take the wrist so that they don't get boxer's fracture, right? But we lock our wrist up physically, so it's not floating, right? So what I'm gonna have you guys do is practice, not real hard, but just go hit those bags a little bit. Like that. All right, here. Get in a position like you're going to throw over my head. Don't hit it, but throw slow motion. Right? That's right. So close your fist. Power. Right? Now, you push like you're going to drive through. Yeah. Right. Really push. Right. Not a lot of power. Right. It's powerful if it hits you whack. Right. But your body's not behind this. Right. Now push. You feel? That's why we punch the way we do. Every punch is body weight. This can be more than body weight. But if I move to the right angle, I can diminish the power of it through leverage, right? So I don't fight that strength, you avoid it, right? But the power you want to derive from your body being behind everything, right? Rather than just rotating your body, and it's very powerful, very powerful blow. When you punch, good one. It's pretty powerful, right? I want you to feel it. You've got to be grip on the glove. Driving through more relaxed. Try it again. Let your hand be heavy and your arm be like a rope. Feel the difference? Okay. It takes a little practice, but the more relaxed your throw is, you're hitting with your bones. So tensing your muscles slows you down. So the punch needs to be relaxed because you're striking with bones. So you're throwing the punch, you're not pushing the punch. You're throwing the hook, you're not driving the hook. That's the mistake most people make, is that they try and put their body's not behind it. It's centrifugal force. It's a round punch or a hook. It's building momentum, rotational power, and driving from the ground. But really, the more relaxed you throw it, you will probably increase by literally hundreds of pounds of force, right? So, something you can, when you get in the gym, give a try with, have people just start working with your hooks that way. It's the same with a straight punch. You stay relaxed. It's not about tensing the muscles. You only tense the muscle to stop, so you don't hyperextend the elbow, right? Like you did in Taekwondo, if you went too far, it was out, right? So, we keep our elbow in because the balance is intimately connected to the elbow. And also because then we control the center line, which the bulk of vital points are on, right? Your nose, philtrum, your throat, the point of the chin, right? Sternal notch, all the way down, solar plexus, bladder, groin, right? So we want to guard that center line as much as possible. And then we don't face the person dead on, we move off to the side when we fight. We still guard the center line, but we position them within the central line where we can use two hands at the same time, right? So, does that make sense? So, how we punch, you can punch fast. Like if you punch a speedboat, right? You're actually on attack. You can punch really fast, but if you measure the force, maybe 15, 20 pounds, not a lot. Now you can knock a person out with 30 pounds, 15 pounds of force, to 30 pounds of force if you hit them the right way. But 170 pounds of force, or I'm 260, so 260 every time, you're going to do some damage. And then the punches follow each other, so it's like a battering ram effect, It adds up real quick. But with power, then you have some. If you put power in every movement, then you get the position and deliver the power. It's not hard to knock out somebody when you get to the right position. But getting to that position, that's because they want to punish you as you try. So a lot of what we do is learning how to enter so you don't sustain a beating in the process through the foot, right? So when you get into Iji Kim Yung Ma, when you're getting into the stance, that's the basis for our footwork, how we move. Right? The freer you are to move, it will keep the head one level. So, moving up and down, it's fine. You're making a moving target, but you're also shifting your balance so much that it's hard to keep it. You're moving from imbalance to imbalance rather than keeping balance all the time. And we train our eyes so we can see the only things we care about is elbows and knees. Where do you look? Chest? Yeah. Rotation? But that is a problem because it doesn't give you, it only tells you, oh, this forward or this forward, right? It doesn't tell you jab, hook, uppercut, hammer, back fist, spinning back fist. Not that they do those in boxing, but you understand, right? For every move that a person makes when they throw a punch or a strike, the elbow moves a different way. It's also further away from your eyes, so you can see it, and it's traveling much slower than the fist. You know, I mean, I'm far enough where I can't hit you, but watch my fist. Like, you can see it, right? Just watch my elbow. See how easy it is for you to see it? It's further away. In a straight punch, it's traveling 2.5 times slower than the fist, right? They start out at the same time. It only goes, a portion of the distance, so it's traveling about 2.5 times slower. In a round punch, the elbow's traveling about 4 times slower, right? And watch my elbow. Right? Notice that it goes away. Now it's coming. All right, from the other side. If it turns, the other one's coming. So that's how we see what's coming. All right, we'll watch the elbow and the knees, because it's the same with a kick. However you want to kick, the knee's going to tell you the truth. You know, guy's got a poker face or he's kind of wily. You're not going to get the truth if you're looking at the wrong place. But if you look at the elbows, they can't come forward without moving the knees, and they can't come forward, and they can't punch without moving the elbows. And for every single one, it tells, it's different. So we want to keep our punch as short as we can. Not too much, none of this big, then they don't see it so easy, right? Or if he throws me a punch, he doesn't see it coming, right? Break his floating ribs, and then it's very easy. I'm thinking of talking street too. It's a little different in sport, but because in the street you're not gonna, okay, let's see who's best. You gotta defend your life in the street. So, but that straight punch, shortest distance between 2 points, very home, right? So we're using the physics of it. So what I want you guys to do is just practice maybe some slow alternate punching, right? Practice bringing the punch to the center, and then just practice like this, right? The 3 of you for a little bit, and then try hitting the backs and just seeing what it feels like. Not hard, just getting the feel for the flow of the energy, because it's coming up from your feet. And there's a push-pull kind of energy, but it's not about how much you pull back. It's about just driving that from the elbow. So this comes in, and you just push it out, right? And don't overextend your elbows. Okay. This kind is called a Chun Lao Sao because it disengages. If I'm inside his hand, I completely release and go around to get to the other side. A Chun Sao moves his arm to another position by sticking. But a Chun Lao Sao just disengages and goes around. Make sense? So you're going to move, sometimes you position the arm, sometimes you just let it go. And in Wing Chun, we train Chi Sao. Excuse me, I'm getting hiccups. Chi Sao is to develop sensitivity so you understand force, right? Like you probably sparred in Taekwondo and did some really cool technique and go, wow, and it was more of a reaction than a thought because you've developed a certain amount of contact reflexes. And the same thing boxing, a guy starts to move on you and you learn how to flow with his movement and try and get in and hook, but to go with the force, not fight the force so much, maybe, I don't know, depends on who's training you. It's hard to say because different boxers have, like Iron Mike, just go to sleep, Everybody's a little different. But our strategy is to, not use strength, not use force, release force. So if he's pushing on me, I just want to let that go. He'll get caught in his own momentum, and I can take advantage of his momentary instability through his loss of balance, right? Or if they pull or whatever, right? So being able to release force going from inside to outside or from outside to inside. You know, like if you two were his friends and he throws that punch, the last thing I want to do is stay here. It's like, crap, I want to keep something in between you guys and, you know, so I got to go where I'm going to be safer. I don't want to deal with 2 arms, but I don't want to deal with 5 either. I want to go where I can only deal with 1, and then you know, because you can only mostly deal with 1 thing at a time. So you can do more, but you have to really train. You know, it's hard. Fighting more than 1 person, you can only fight 1 person at a time. You know, 6 people come at you, you still only fight 1 at a time. You have to position so that you can fight 1 at a time, because if you stay in the middle, they'll jump on you like the police do and own you, you know. I'm not saying the police do that to you necessarily, but you understand, right? I mean, that's their theory. I mean, so they can keep from hurting people. They just, too bad, dogpile them, you know. Well, you get enough people, you can do that to anybody, you know. Almost. Some people might hurt you in a way, but the concept is you can really only fight 1 at a time because, you know, physiologically we're equal. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head, you know, torso. So we have to fight within the same parameters, you know. But if I have to deal with 6, I'd rather deal with 1. You know, when you guys come in 1 at a time, I'll talk to you. Rather than, you know, right here, I'm going to take some probably severe punishment. Bad place to be. So strategically, it's the same whether you're fighting with 1 person or if there's more than 1 person. You're always going to move to the position of advantage. Don't stay where you're going to be in trouble. In the middle of people is a troublesome place. Always pick the ringleader and move to 1 side of him. You can see the other ones and kind of stifle, right? Like, how would you hit me from? I mean, yeah, because I'm blind in this eye, I can't even really see him. But if I'm here covering his elbow, go ahead and hit me, right? He's going to run into before he can hit me. If he tries to swing the other hand, I'm still going to knock him out before that gets to me, right? I'm taking the shorter path, right? So, and you can only do that when you get the position of advantage, which for us is on the blind side, right? Outside. We call it the blind side. I don't know if those terms are familiar to you, but we've got, like you've got southpaw and orthodox, we call cross and parallel, right? So here, this is cross, this is parallel, you know? So I don't even know which one of us would be orthodox and which would be southpaw.
That would be southpaw.
You would be southpaw.
Right.
Yeah, right. So, I know, like I said, I get older and I have brain fog, so you have to excuse me. So, positionally, there's only 8 situations when you deal with an opponent, right? You're either parallel, my left to his right, inside or outside, or cross, inside or outside. And then the other, if he switch legs and I switch legs, right? Everything you do is going to fall into that because you're going to throw a punch, the guy's going to block, you're going to be outside or inside. So I'm talking about from the point of contact, right? So we have, remember I said that we have pre-contact, and then we have contact, then we have exchange. So contact is where you can touch the guy's wrist, but you can't necessarily punch him, right? But if you can touch his wrist, you can kick him, right? So that whenever you can reach out and touch him, you can kick him, right? Even if you can't hit him, right? So distance-wise, I don't know if you can do that or not, but it's a good thing to know. Wrist is kicking range, the elbow, punching range. And those are my reference points for those distances, rather than anything else, because if he's trying to hit me, right, I want to kick him, I just adjust where he can't hit me. He could kick me too. I can kick him, whatever I can do for him, do for me. But that distance, if he kick me, I can stifle his movement, and because I can feel it, right? And my balance is very strong on one leg, so I can still control his balance, my balance, and kick him and prevent him from kicking me. But you do that from training the stance, right? It's like, you ever push a car? You're taller than me, you're probably pretty strong. So hold your arms like that, just so they're stable, so they don't wobble all over the place. Get like you would if you were to push a car. Okay, push a car. Right? Okay, push your car. Push. Push. Right? Can you feel? If you can hold your balance, you can kick. If you can't hold your balance, you're gonna be all wobbly. You're not gonna be able to pull up your technique. So balance is essential. One leg, two legs, whatever. Balance first, right? So that's what we're working on with the stance. You define the central line. You do the punch. You do the Hyun-Sao. Right? That's how we punch. All of our punches are either the straight punch or some semicircular strikes, but pretty much. And we also have a hook, but we never go punching. We never do this for the most part. What?
That's great.
Oh, sorry.
So you're listening.
Right. We won't do this because, like I said, good punching is invisible. He just gets to feel it. He doesn't get to know from whence it came or where it was going. You'll feel it, but you won't see it. All right. So that's really our strikes are mostly palm strikes, straight palm strikes, and punches. You know? And palm strikes are really good because your hands, your palms, are very resilient. Clap and improve because it doesn't hurt us. Otherwise, people go, oh, ow, oh, oh. You know? So our hands are pretty tough. So when you slap somebody, or palm strike them, there's a lot of power. So we use a lot of straight line palm strikes. This is called Dai Chun. Chun, right? Just palm strike. And we use this part of the palm. I can't remember what that muscle's called. It's what gives your hand its strength. When you aim there and you drive from this bone, and you strike. So, in the same, drive from the everything drives from the elbow, whether the palm strike and block, and all of our power comes to the elbow. Right? So the next move in the form is a Tan-Sao. So with our feet open, back straight. Close the fist. Down. Open. Alright, let's go Hyun-Guk. Daigan. Sungan. Chun. Chun. Hyun-Sao. Chun. Chun. Hyun-Sao. Chun. So the next movement starts like the punch. You open your hand. So fingers together, thumb tucked like that. Left hand, always left first, because most people are right-handed, so we train equally. So the hand crosses, just the same as the punch. Once this point goes across the center, then it goes forward and the elbow comes in. Now, once this is at your eye level, you stop. The elbow's in. This is called Tan-Sao. This is a Hyun-Sao. And now this is Wu-Sao. So you want to keep a little higher. There you go. Right? So it's protecting your upper gate, right? Your head. You draw it back slowly. And you have tension in this movement going both directions. So this is Wu-Sao means protecting hand. So, you know, like if somebody's going to punch you, just bring your hand right. So you can put this. It's very similar. Right? The lines are a little different that we protect, but it's very similar. Right? So this comes back almost to your nose, and then you just relax the hand. So this is over the center line, if there's a center line, right? And now it's going to push forward and down as your elbow comes in behind. Right? This is kind of hard. This is called Wu-Sao. So not too straight, shoulder square. It's difficult. But what's happening here is, if you see this muscle? So if my hand is here, I can come straight in. But now, put your fingers down. See how I tense the muscle without even trying? Keep the elbow down. Keep the elbow down. Now what happens is, it creates a channel that deviates away from you. So it's forcing you that way rather rather than in, right? But not with full strength, just with the position of the movement. Really relax here, so this can come in there, okay? Down, like that. See how that tenses this muscle here, right? Like you're gathering, there, feel that, right? See here? Relaxing. And now this creates a pump that goes back away from you. So you're directing force away from you. Good. Right? So that's Fuksal. Then you do another Hunsal. Fuksal, a little bit high here. Then you go elbow out just a little bit. So it's so you may see this a little bit angle here. There you go. So this is a very strong structure, almost 45 degrees. And it comes back. Same as the last time. So now there's a count on these movements. When you do the Tansao, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you should be at the completion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep your elbow, remember, keep your elbow in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that the third one or the second? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. So we repeat it 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And on this time when you come back, it's 6. Now you lower the whole thing as a unit and push it out to even with your shoulder, right? So yeah, look at your shoulder mirror that's parallel at a 45-degree angle. Right? This is called Paksao. Now from there, you're going to rotate on the elbow point just a little bit. See, the whole unit moves over and you drive a palm strike. Open your palm up, Hunsal, close the fist, pull it back. And then we do the right side. Open the palm, Tansao, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hunsal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is called Hunsal, by the way, protecting hand. Fuksal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fuksal is translated bridge hand or controlling hand. Hunsal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fuksal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hunsal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's their one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lower the whole unit and Paksao to the shoulder. Rotate on the elbow. Wujong. Palm up. Lock double Hunsal. Close your fist. Jump. Then come back over to your left foot. Turn your palms over. This is like getting up out of the pool. You push. Come on. You know, like when you're on the side of the pool. Come out. That's the first section of the form. Normally, we don't progress past that for 3 lessons. But we're going to go a lot of lessons in one day. Yeah, so the Tansao, I explained the punch, explained the Hunsal. So the Tansao, Tan means spreading hand, right? So when his punch comes in, throwing a big, I rotate and deflect the force by spreading it out. If he throws a hook, no wonder he doesn't want to throw it because it hurts him.
Exactly. I'm being very careful.
Right. But round punches you have to do them from the inside, or else be back far enough. You understand? You have to be back far enough that they're going to be. But if you're really going to deal with the guy, you got to get in contact range. You know? if you're really good at getting on the bicycle, you can, you know, you can try to stay away from them and just wait until they get out of position and then try and get them. But you can use a lot of energy, you know, that you may need. Well, you know, if you've ever gone a few rounds, after the first round, you're already tired, you know, so. When he throws his punch, it's simultaneous. As I meet that, he's going to meet his twin, right? And then I'm positioned outside. So a Tan Sao spreads out the force and disperses the force. And if he's throwing a round punch, I always go toward it so I get away from the other hand, and then move to the outside, you know, to get the position advantage. Then the next movement is the Lao side, so hit me in. So now I went from inside to outside, just like I did before. The Wu Sao is our guard, right? So how do you hold your guard? Just for boxing. So this is mine. So how would you try to hit me? If you're not using your feet, just boxing. Right? So you leave a lot of opening. So I close everything out. See, so what's happening is you can't come in straight because my hands are in the way. It's forcing you to take a round shot, right? And you can't get in very close because my hands are in the way. Even try to circle. Right? I'm getting to where I can use and control your hand, which is nasty, right? So our guard controls the center. You ever see Larry Holmes fight? If you get a chance, watch. He holds his hands like this in the center. This is interesting. Very similar to our guard. Because he had that long reach, so he'd make guys go, and then he'd just clobber them, because they're trying to go around and he'd take the short path to knock them out. You know, it's very, very effective, right? So our strategy is control the center line, make them take the round path. And what do? They got to go the measure of pi. What is it? 3.1407, whatever it is. Yeah. That many times further around than you if you were the center, right? So you are controlling things much more effectively. So that's a Wu Sao. The front one is called a Man Sao. It's the asking hand, the questioning hand. You know, like a guy might try and, you know, if you were boxing, you might try and knock my hand away, right? And then try and like knock it with one and hit with the other, or, you know. So I'm asking you, what are you doing? And as soon as you touch me, then I know. Because you train Chi Sao and it develops that understanding of the reflexes, right? So, I keep my thoughts here. So you do the Tan Sao, the Hyun Sao, that's our guard, the Wu Saos. Front one is a Man Sao, rear one is a Wu Sao. It's protecting it. You know, if I'm here and this is called the blind side, this is called the open side. If he throws a hook, that's going to catch it and he's going to catch this. If he throws from that side, so we're always controlling the line, making them take a longer path. Can't get in with a jab. Can't do that. It's like having a rope. And then when we practice, we have energy going both ways as you bring that back. Because if somebody hits at you, you want to collapse and smack you in the face. So you can't just hold it there. It's like, bang. That's your guard. So it has to have some, well, the Chinese word is yin, energy. Focus your thought into it. So it's got some strength. And then the Fuk Sao and the Hyun Sao is, like I said, Fuk Sao is a bridge hand or controlling hand, so perfect guard. So I can do this. Perfect. So relax. So I'm controlling what you can do. So you probably double up and come up with a high work. Yeah, that's right. Move it around here. Like this. All right. There you go. See? So what you do, when you try and hit me, really easy to stop that and control your balance from, because I have the elbow. Right? So, Fuchs style, you just get on top of the hand and control, slow it down. If you slow everything down, you can dictate the pace of what's going on. Things are flying at you, so crap, you know. But if you can make contact with them and slow them down, then you have a chance of controlling everything that's going on. So, Fuchs style, that's Fuchs style. And then Fuchs style can be used as a Chun style, so I'm going to have you guys do this. He's going to throw a punch, and I go like that. It's just what I taught you. Same move, look. You know, that, right? As he punches, you're going to go like that. Move it to the blind side. That's a Chun style. Remember I said one disengages and one moves the arm to a different position. So all this does is he throws a punch, you just get on his blind side. Keep control of it. Okay? That making sense? Try it? Okay, try it. See how that foot's already turned at an angle? My toe would actually be facing my opponent's center. So when I come back, this is just like Yi Kim Myung Ma at the beginning of the stance in the form, but I'm dealing with the person here, not here, right? So this is very stable. I know 45-degree angle is very strong structurally, right? Then when his punch is coming in, so it's a, let's say it's a jab, and you're blocking a cross arm. So his right jab is coming into you, you're blocking inside with your right, getting this position, and then turning just a little bit to face him. And that'll put both of your hands where you can control his elbow and strike him at the same time. That makes sense? So you're on this line, you step back to this line, and then turn here, right? Here to here, turn this one in and unwind that one. I don't think I did it that way the first time. So here, you step back and make contact. Now you're inside the wrist. You drape your wrist over, push it down a little bit, step over and unwind. And now you're in a position to strike him on the kidney. See, now hit him in the kidneys. Good. Right? So you have to pull it a little bit to keep them in. Right. So this much, extend your hand. Right. So now at this point, if you want to hit me, you gotta lean. Right. So I get to the wrist straight away. That's my thing. So if you, okay, so I'll do this side, since that's the side you're stepping into. Right. So the same thing. You step into hit this much. And now when I step over, I'll come behind. You've already turned your corner. So it's just using that reference point to help you get to where you're going, as opposed to just trying to step over there first and keep trying to, because the guy's watching you. Well, you know, he's not letting you because he knows if you get over there, he's at a disadvantage, right? So you have to get there kind of sneaky, make him think you're not going there, and then go back.
Trying to go so hard because we're right into
Yeah, well, I'm pulling back, so he's going to hit you. Thank you. Right? This is extremely fast because his energy still, he basically headbutts my hand, you know, with his cheekbone. So, and then of course you're driving forward, so it's very, very effective technique. Now throw a round punch. I can do it on a round punch too, right? But I'm doing it from the inside, and I have go. What are you doing? Round punch. Round punch. I don't care which hand, I just make it a round punch. Right? Go ahead, round punch. See? See here, I have to move toward this to get away from the other hand, and then I follow back. So his arm is a guide to where he is. So the contact point is always telling me where he's at, whether it's his wrist or whether it's his elbow. If you follow the arm, you find him, right? Whether from underneath or on top, it doesn't make any difference. If you don't follow the arm, there's nothing there, right? So we use the arm to give us that relationship. So when his hand comes in, this one, I follow it. If it comes in straight, I follow it, right? Because that's what's telling me where it is. So as his punch comes in, I am pushing, driving through in one movement. And see my rear hand moves out, picks this up fast as you can. Right? Don't do that. Right? They run into this. And then, so you have complementary force. He helps you hit him. Always helpful. The guy walks in and into a punch. Right? So that's Pak Sao Wu Jump. So you can do the same step, same footwork, except when he comes, go after it. Pak Pam. And this one just covers the elbow. Right? Pak Pam. And just take a little forward step. As he steps forward with the jab, just step outside his foot. So that's like this. The same. Hyunder. He steps at me. Hyunder, I protect my groin. Right? As I come forward. And then I'm in position to follow up. Okay? So he comes in with his jab, you just shift back the same way and then drive forward. And this one just covers. See this? Yeah. It's much easier for me. That's simple. Fancy. Once you hit him, once you rock him a little, you know, then you can kind of have your way with it. But first you got to get that first one in. That's the trick. Thanks, Sifu.
We'll do some actual basic technique and give you some technique drills. The footwork remains the same. You're going to use a front stance, you're going to use a neutral side stance. Right? So on the dummy, that Pak Sao stepping in, Pak Sao, the palm strike, you have to see in your mind, there's no arm here. I'm just dealing with it, right? So these limbs represent high level or low line strikes, whether they're kicks or punches. And this is like representative of the lead knee. It's a little high, but it's an opponent's front leg. Generally on a dummy, it will be a little bit lower, but it's all right. So if you step in and you do a Pak Sao like that, and a palm strike, this would represent the lead arm, right? So if you stand like your boxer or whatever, so you're just going to practice, here's the Pak Sao, here's the palm strike, without the punch. So you're making it offensive, rather. If he steps in, step in, hit me, then I receive what's coming, right? He wants to try and hit me, and I let it come in, and then go for the counter. But if he's standing there, and I want to, then I pin that already. Now he can't reach me with that one already, and then I'm straight away, right? So I keep this one at bay, right? So this is the same footwork, but instead of going backward now, you're going forward. You move one, you move the other. You always adjust back to 50-50, right? Keep your weight distributed 50-50. So he's in his guard, I step in, right? I'll just attack him. And now I'm back into this same stance and ready to do the technique. Okay? So you guys try this offensively, and then we'll go from there. Okay? All right? All right. You guys ready?
Somehow you have to redirect everything away from you, right? Or, you know, you move around, but he can move, he matches you, right? So instead we keep him, right? Now try and turn toward me. See? So I just keep control of that and keep him just a little bit off balance, right? Then it's very easy. Now, we're going to do another technique. It's called a lapsa, right? That's a grabbing hand. So he'll throw a punch, and I'm just going to grab the hand. So I'll start from neutral side. Sticking this hand and hitting it here. I don't know what you, just be consistent. So I come up, straight up, like a wusa, and then I turn the foot and grab it. See what it does to his balance? My hand just drops with the speed of gravity. The weight of my hand is sufficient to destroy the balance. So he comes in, I go 1, 2, and then right here, this will knock him out. Right? Takes about 30 pounds of force to knock a person out when you hit him here. Like I said, you can hit with full body weight, so it's very powerful. So you don't want to do this lightly because you could kill somebody. Right? Cool. Balance, and then you just follow up. Very simple. Should be done. Right? So we'll do the other side this time. See a turn. Do you punch right to the sternocleidomastoid muscle? Right there. Well, that muscle helps lift the ribs when you breathe. Cause a little bit of vascular shock. Take a nap. Okay? Right up. See how it goes. Right.
Forward's real simple. You're just going to go. Right. From the neutral side to the neutral side, so you're actually sidestepping the force just a little bit. Okay? Just that a little bit. Just a little bit. Just like this. Just a little, because he's going to hit me, right? So I don't want to stay here and try and fight against it. So I want to come up here. I want to move just off the line a little bit, and then let that force go by, kind of like that coyote and roadrunner. You know, just step aside and let him go. Okay?
Don't do that with your arm. Instead, do this. Turn and face it, and then just drop it in. All right? So you don't have to. We're forward-going creatures, and our strength is in front of us. Right? Our ears point forward, our eyes point forward, everything. Feet. Right? So we're strongest here. Right? It's like this. Blow a hook toward my head. Push hard as you can. Right? Now, look at this. Push hard. Come on. Come on. Big, strong guy like you. Do that. You hold with one finger. Why? Because the strength is here. Right? If I were here doing that, you'd break my finger. Right? But the further I get back here, behind the plane of your shoulder, the weaker you get. If I put it back here, there's no strength. Right? So, it's understanding where things are strong. Everything, you know, you're going to hammer a nail, where do you do it? Right here in front of you. Right? So he throws his punch, I grab it right in front of you. That's where I'm strongest. Lift up your hand. Right? I don't have to use strength. My frame is really strong here. You know, if I were out here, lift up your hand. Now I have to use strength. Now I just use my frame. I just do that. Right? So everything should be, you know, how a woman would do it, not how men would do it. We want to do things with strength naturally. We cultivate strength to try and do strength. But Wing Chun was developed by a woman. It's not about being stronger. It's about being smarter. Right? So when this punch comes in, I just turn and use where I'm strong. Then release. Okay? Did that help a little bit?
Yeah.
Or clarify a little bit?
Yeah,
Get in front of you. Face the
And then-
contact point you, generally speaking, want to face it. And punch in the central line. You know, sometimes we punch in the center line, but it's to finish. Usually it's the center line. Straight up. Rotate this foot. Everything else turns as a unit. You drop the hand and punch. Right? So it comes up, it intercepts the hand. You turn, it drops on the arm, and you punch. Now come here. You step in and punch. Right? So it's just up and down, right in the center. This style of Wing Chun is called Kin San, means side body. Right? It is side on. The more that I get side on, then I only got one hand.
Yeah, I'm used to more extreme.
But see, but this turn like that, that means I can only punch with one hand until I take a step. right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was.
So when he throws a punch, in this system, I can punch with both hands. Even if I'm here, I can hit him with this hand and I can hit him with this hand without rotating my shoulders. That's the beauty of it. Because they don't expect that. So he throws a punch and I go, oh, good night. Right? And I don't have to rotate my shoulders. And this one's ready to come in when he doesn't see it either. But it's very dangerous if you don't understand how to control that, to do what we do and fight on the blind side, right? It's very dangerous. But when you know how to control that limb, then it's really easy, because then you're understanding, you're taking the person's balance, you're getting the openings, you're keeping them crossed so they can't hit you, so you have a real advantage. All right?
Come up. Step. Turn. Push, punch. Press, let's get back in there. So your first move is hands come up to protect. Turn. Back. So this one right here, keep your arm bent. Yes. And grab, so you have control. If it's extended, it's going to be hard to control. All right. Let's get back in position. So you're blocking that first one. Turning. In position.
Try not to turn your shoulders, Jay. You just have your shoulders facing the same direction.
In that
Yes.
position, keep your elbow in and just rest it. Okay. So you like resting it so you can pop. All right, we'll do two more and then I'm gonna give Jaden some. All right, ready? Up. Turn. Grab. And then punch. Punch high, low, whatever you. There you go. Okay. Let's get some. So you're blocking that first one. Turning. In your position. Pull down. Pop. Two, three. Yeah. So you're here. So your first one's up. Okay. One. Finish two. And then three to finish. More time. One. Two. Finish.
So you can do it as he steps in and punch. Yeah, do one little left, and then I'll move back. And now you're ready to use that. So remember, we did the pot style. Now we do the lop style, right? So he comes in, I step back, lop, right? It's the same thing, but I'm using the front stance now, and then I'm still here. So I watch out for that other arm, and I control his balance, and then I can move over here. So he comes in, I go 1, 2, step over, and there's his punch, right? So there's another way to do the same technique, just using the footwork we used in the first technique. Back first, then over. Okay? Okay.
Thanks. Oop. Okay. Someone come this way. Yes. See that? Perfect. And then that's when you take that step forward. And you turn. You're gonna be lop time, so you can grab that down and then turn. Yeah. So we're just breaking it down one at a time, so you get the first part and then you can get the second part. So the first. Just keep this one bent. Yeah. And you'll, everything else is great. But you see the difference, right? You have more movement to exactly to move in and get one. But if it's out, yeah, you don't have the power. Two more. I'll do one more in this one. Let's try that one more time so we do it. Everything else is good. Just keep your elbow in on the transition. It's nice and slow. So keep it in. Yeah. So you just have to work on keeping the elbow in. It might it feels a little funny.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's foreign, dude. It's Chinese. And you're learning to get your energy if I had a guard, and let's say that you're going to push against this, right? There's two hands push against this, right? So you're going to bend. So I'll move my feet and keep my frame, right? And that way it's protecting me. Because if I let it just collapse, then everything's going to break loose, right? So it's learning how to direct your energy to that area, and then your frame does the work rather than your muscular strength. It takes a little practice, a little getting used to, because that for every guy is hard, because you have to learn how to relax the muscles up here in order to get your elbow in there. You know, so it's not easy. Even guys that are skinny have a hard time because they have to relax the pec. You know, so it's not easy, but once you get it, then it's not so hard, because it's actually just the frame. You know, once you can stop doing it with tension. That's the hardest part, is like learning how to get the frame and control the energy without tensing muscles. You know, then you really have it. But it takes a little while. So, what other ones can we do? Whatever. So this is, come on, you gotta hit me. So this is a Pak Sa Chun. So Chun Sa means threading in. So I'm doing this, and then do that. And what happens is, I'm on this side, and as I raise that hand, now I'm on this side, and then I bring it down, right? So if he, throw that, right? Sorry, different technique. This is a Pak Sa boxing, right? And then you, but the Chun Sa was like this. Real quick. So as he comes in, you work 1, 2, and then you have him. And 1, 2. And just step back, same footwork. Same footwork for its front stance. Okay?
And
Yeah.
do they turn towards?
Well, you will after you get there. Right? You're here. See that? No, hit me. I can't do it in slow motion. You see that? So I don't have to turn because I'm already.
Oh, okay.
I'm already there. No point. Right? And just step back. Do that.
Just catch it right here.
Yeah. As you try and I might do it a little different. I might do it with a bill and then Chun. It's the same. Right? But the point is you're protecting and then moving to the outside. So that just takes it to the outside, and now I have him. I'm on his blind side, so I can do whatever I want to. For a moment anyway. Okay? All right. Extend your arm. See that? And then from here, follow your arm. All right? So it's a little different than what I showed you before. Extend your arm near his elbow. Follow your arms, and that puts you on the blind side straight away. So it's just, that's Chun. Chun means threading. All right? So, see? So as I follow that, it pushes that arm up, and then I'm ready to go. I'm going to let you, right? It's going to wrap around that and knock me out, right? But that I can keep him at bay. See that? Right? Like you know that. You're going to get in there. The guy's hands are here, he's going down, right? So you have to, so you extend it here, extend it here, see on the blind side straight away. Then it's easy. Okay?
Take that step back. Just extend our hand forward. Exactly. Perfect. All right, let's come back. Do it again. Take a step back, extend forward. Okay, one more time. Step back. All right, now you guys do some punches.
Go ahead. You see, you don't stay there, right? So you kick me. Force has one direction, and gravity wants to pull it down, and then we move to the blind side and follow, right? So you don't fight that force. You get off the line, and then make it succumb to gravity. You know, like this. Unless the person's standing like this, they're gonna come down into their stance, right? So can you do the same thing? See, so it'll be there anymore. Right? It doesn't matter. You just don't be there. And then you control the elbow and strike. And that's it. Let me use you to show you. So you guys can try this. Okay, kid. When the like knock me across the room. And then you get to the blind side straight away.
You're just pushing off the
This is I call the gum towel, pinning hand. So I'm using this edge of my hand and pushing it diagonal. So he kicks, boom. And now I'm on the elbow, right where I want to be.
Because I was wondering before, like, how their shin doesn't just cleave your arm in half.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What if you're...
I'm not fighting the force. Yeah, I don't fight it coming slow. I don't fight it here. I don't oppose it. Right? It comes in, and I'm coming from the side. So I'm not fighting it. You can also do it with the legs. Right? This is called a pot hook. Like you guys did pop Sal. Sal's hand. Pop your girl. Right? Sorry.
Well, let me do it for real so they can see it.
Well, let me. So you can do the same thing with your feet. Okay? That technique, then you move like you were trying to move before. If I'm here, I don't want to move here. I'm here, I want to move 90. So you're like a door. One leg is like the doorpost, the hinge. And everything else just pivots and lets the force go by. Right? So then what happens when he kicks you, he gives you his back if he kicks you parallel. And if he kicks you cross, it's okay. You still have his balance and you have all the targets you need to finish him off. Very simple.
So you're using the lead hand no matter which leg you go?
I don't care what they do. Yeah, I can go any direction, right? So if I'm here, and see how my hands move very little? Turn around this way. Watch the position of my right hand after you kick. Now put a guard on like see where his elbow is? Where my hand stops and where his elbow becomes? I'm placing him like a marionette, like a puppeteer. I'm controlling that. So now I have what I want to control him. Right? Very easy. No strength required. All technique. But the gum sow, you move off the line and it's in front of you. So the force goes past you and you push the leg. Does that make sense?